With StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and I kind of hesitated making this blog post slash post in general because I'm not at all a fan of premolar extractions in patients. For me, it's always a very last resort. I'm not saying I never do them, but I certainly do significantly less than I used to do 15 years ago. So, and I've learned the hard way. I've seen other people's cases 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. I'm watching profiles collapse. I'm watching OSA rates go up. No, I don't know if there's any direct correlation, yet research done between OSA and premolar extractions, but in my world, I see it. So, and if you're interested in learning more about some of these things, I have some great resources and references I can send you. Just let me know. But let me kind of give you, if and when, my kind of rough guide to premolar extractions. And I wrote this all out in a blog, which is available on my website. If you go to my website, StraightSmileSolutions.com, click on About Us, click on Blog, it will pop up. So premolar extraction patterns, upper buys, 2 buys versus 4 buys. So first of all, there's a few things, a couple rules for extractions that I kind of broke it down. And these are just based on my own opinion, my own standard of care, the standard of care in the state I worked in. Your country might be a little bit different. Your state might be a little bit different. So you need to contact not only your liability insurance company, get the briefs on that, as well as read your own dental practice acts in your own state or country. Okay, so I'm speaking for myself. So I always say for premolar extractions, if you're even considering it, you always need to get a CEF, and you need to get CEF numbers. And if you don't know how CEFs work, you have no business doing this, in my opinion. If you don't know how to read or interpret CEFs, you have no business doing this. You're taking it too hard of a case. I do have a lot of content on CEF, and that's stuff that we can help you with one-on-one on your case. Of course, there's a fee for that. You can go to StraightSmileSolutions.com/services if you want one-on-one support. We'll be glad to teach you. Let's see. Also, before you even consider premolar extractions, you need to consider all the alternatives and rule them all out. So like IPR, you can get 5.5 millimeters per arch with just IPR alone. A premolar is what? 8 millimeters or so. 2 premolars in an arch is 16 millimeters. Well, we're a third of the way there already, And on top of that, you've got expansion. You can get a few more millimeters with that. Proclination, you get a few more millimeters with that. Distalization, you can definitely get up to 5 millimeters per arch with that. So if you kind of combine all the other ones, you should be able to get the same space that you get with premolars if needed. Now, sure, sometimes we can't do IPR. Maybe the teeth are tiny, and they have no enamel, or maybe they're at caries risk, so that's out. Expansion, I've got tons of videos on when to do expansion, when not. Not everyone can have expansion, so watch those. Same thing with proclination. Same thing with distalization. You have to have the third molars out to do that. So, but if there's a workaround, you should avoid the premolar extraction. Okay. Another one, you should always screen for OSA and never initiate extractions on any patient who might be at risk for OSA. That means asking questions, doing an exam, and referring as needed if you don't know. Document. If you don't do quote unquote OSA in your practice, you need to refer to someone who does. And doing quote unquote OSA means that you've been certified, you've taken a course, you're collaborating with physicians, MDs in your practice. If you're not doing this, you have no business to even be screening for it, in my opinion. You should refer out to somebody who does. Don't skip this step, because if and when later the patient develops sleep apnea, terminal sleep apnea, it might come back to bite you later. And I know I'm extrapolating down the road, but it's starting to happen. So don't skip that step. In addition, there's no reason to extract on a growing child. That's just sloppy. It's sloppy ortho. It isn't standard of care, in my professional opinion. And it's not only my opinion, but it's also the opinion of many orthodontists, more progressive orthodontists, and also possibly, you got to keep in mind, if you're doing ortho as a GP and, there's ever a complaint to either insurance or the dental board, they're going to pull the best orthodontists in their area and get their opinions on your case if there was a complaint. And if the orthodontists think it's below standard of care, you're going to be in trouble. So being sloppy and just rushing to take out teeth on a kid that could grow, sometimes parents are like, I don't want to wear an appliance. Well, maybe you don't want to treat them then. Maybe that's not, just because the parent says they don't think their child will be compliant isn't a good reason to do sloppy orthodontics. It's maybe you don't want to take that case, If the parents are gonna force someone to extract teeth because that's what they want, it wouldn't be a case I would take. I would dismiss the case. Now, of course, we can try, and we can try the appliances. And if we're really having issues with compliance or wear, well, then at least we tried. We documented it, and we move on to the next step. But just skipping over a step because the parents don't know how to, I say discipline, but don't know how to manage their own child or their own teen isn't an acceptable reason for not doing something. It's just telling you that you don't want to partner with that family. Okay, so let's say we've done all that stuff and we're in the clear and we've documented in writing that the really only option is extraction. It happens, okay? So here's my cookie cutter approach. And again, all of this is written out in my blog. If you want to go to my website, StraightSmileSolutions.com, go to About Us, go to blog. For upper buys, one of the biggest mistakes I see doctors making is that they rush to take out upper buys when you could just fix it with elastics or a little IPR. Don't take out upper buys unless it's like a full step class 2. Full step, that means full class 2. Not 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters, that's unnecessary. You're overkilling it. What's gonna happen is you're gonna end up with edge-to-edge occlusion or negative overjet because you took out too much tooth structure. Okay, that's one thing I see. Also, I only take out 4 bicuspids when there's severe crowding and I couldn't do any of the other stuff. And they're class 1. 4 premolars, class 1 with crowding, not class 2 with crowding, class 1. Now, there's variations of that. If there's slight class 2 with severe crowding, you can do upper 4s and lower 5s, but you need to consider something for anchorage, like a TPA or a Nance. If there's slight class 3, you flip-flop it. You can do upper 5s, lower 4s, but you need to consider some type of anchorage like a lingual arch. And if there's asymmetry on one side or the other, you can get creative. And also another thing you want to keep in mind is if the patient has a premolar that's less restorable than the other, maybe has endo, it has a poor prognosis, you might want to not just, it's nice to have symmetry, I'm going to take out all 4s, but if the patient has a premolar that's really bust up, you might want to change the pattern a little bit. And I know it changes the mechanics, it can get more complicated, but it's the right thing to do for the patient, and they will appreciate it later, because you'd hate to pull out a healthy tooth, leaving a questionable tooth of poor prognosis, and later have that fail, and now the patient has to get an implant, and they're going to be upset. So just things to think about. So anyway, so that's my quick and dirty guide to premolar extractions. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, take a look at my blog, and there's lots more information in my book, which is available at Amazon. All right, thank you.